Hey guys, it's Kyle from InvestiShare. I was not requested to make a video, but I got about 500 messages in my DMs, so I figured I'd make a video for you guys so you feel a little bit better about what is going on. But I will let you know the bearish and bullish scenarios just so you can be prepared just in case. But yeah, guys, let's dive into it and I'll show you what's going on. All right, so this is the hourly chart for Bitcoin, but we're going to zoom in on the 15-minute for a second just so we can dissect it a little bit. So what I can see here, it looks like there is it's not a very clean formation, but it's technically a reversed head and shoulders being formed. So we got the shoulder right here, the head, and the next shoulder forming, and it's parallel with the support level with the previous shoulders, so it's fairly valid. So what we want to see is Bitcoin to break above this downtrend level of resistance, and then it's likely to start heading towards the target. Do I think it's going to hit the target? Probably not. Not within this single trade. It is a 10% move. So if we take it from the support level, the resistance here, hopefully acting as support, and we pull it to the target, yeah, it's a 9.7% move. These take profit box zones here, these are taking off of the local level of resistance and support. So that's why we see a large range here. This zone right here is taken from previous price action from about over a year ago. So this is why I have this take profit zone here, and it's very important for Bitcoin to actually get out of this box zone that we're in right now. So if you see between this level of resistance and this level of support, this box zone, we kind of want to make sure Bitcoin goes out of it to the upside and not the downside. If we go to the downside, we could see Bitcoin go down to around $16,000. But we'll double check that together just to confirm that. The good news is if we break out of this zone right here, if you see there's like a giant valley right here in the BPVR. So if we break above this, we're going to see a lot of volatility bring us to the next zone around 20,000. So we'll have a quick pump right to 20,000. So if we don't reach the actual target, we could easily reach the $20,000 target for a 6% gain. But taking profits along the way, and of course moving your stop loss along the way too. So if we break to the upside, let's say we put the horizontal right here for our stop loss, pull up my template, stop loss, there we go. So this is technically where you want to put your stop loss for a trade like this. Not financial advice, guys. But if we break to the upside and we start seeing this act as support, we can then move the stop loss up here, so long as there's some breathing room. So you want to you want to see it pump, act as support, come up here, and then when it comes up and you already see the support bounce, you want to move this stop loss over to roughly around your break-even zone. Take some profits here and do a calculation. See if the amount of profits you take exceed the amount of loss you'd make when it hits your stop loss. So when you lose this trade, you still come out profitable. And if it manages to break above this and act as support, then you can move your stop loss up a little further into the profit zone. And if we get up through this next take profit zone, you can take some more profits or raise your stop loss a little bit further and just trail it as closely as you can without unnecessarily being stopped out. So you want to make sure you find new support along the way up before raising your stop loss. And then tucking underneath that new level of support. And you can stay in a trade like this for, especially since we're in a bear market, sometimes for over a year. And then you would have to create a new account. Well, that's a whole other thing. You guys can learn that in InvestiShare. But yeah, that's basically what I'm looking at now. Now there's what we could end up seeing is it's not coming out in play at all. We could see a whole new formation be created, but this is what we have right now for information in the likely scenario based on the information that's currently provided by the market. We do have a CME Gap that was formed. So on Monday, when the market opens, there is a slight chance that CME Gap will be filled, which would require a pump. So we would need to go back to the previous price that Bitcoin was at before the weekend started, basically. And that's a bullish thing because it's the price is up higher. And you can use a tool called CME Gap Finder, and this will tell you where all the CME gaps are. It's a free indicator. Basically, if I go over to the daily chart, I can show you what it looks like. So we go over here, turn on this indicator, and it'll show you all the CME gaps that we had that weren't filled yet. So this one hasn't printed just yet because the weekend hasn't ended yet. But once the weekend ends and Monday starts, you'll start seeing that CME gap, and that will give you some more information for the likely scenario of us, pumping to fill it. But they don't always have to be filled, guys. It's a little bit of a fairy tale, but when it's close to the current price action, it's a lot more likely. Anyways, this box zone that we've got right here, this is pulled from the price action from over here. When we had this pump from the previous cycle, we had a little bit of a consolidation cool down period. So we found support here and resistance here. So that's what helped create this important level of support. And we also seen it at the all-time high from the previous cycle, and it got rejection off of it as well. So that's why this is an important level of support, and it's has a lot of interest in the VPPR as well. Another thing you guys need to look at as well is the DXY. So if you go over here, we're currently looking at the daily chart. If we go over to the hourly chart, we can dissect it a little bit more. So before, in our previous video, we were talking about how Bitcoin would likely pump if we broke below this level of support. It did, but then we got a bounce off of the 103.5, and right now we're getting resistance off of this previous support level. It's starting to act as resistance right now, and we don't really have a formation to go off of, but if it gets rejected here, we'll likely see the DXY go back down to 103.9. If that were to happen, then this pump that we're talking about will likely happen over here. So we just got to keep an eye out on the DXY and see how it'll impact our trade before taking any action on our Bitcoin trades. And as well with your altcoin trades, guys. So in order, you should be looking at the US dollar before looking at Bitcoin. You should be looking at Bitcoin before looking at altcoins. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much everything that I got for you. The whole cascade event with Celsius isn't really something you need to worry about right now. I would only worry about it around 16,000. They've been doubling down on their trades. Doubling down on their losing position quite a bit to lower their liquidation points. If you go over to DeFiExplorer.com and type in their Vault ID, which is 25977, you can actually track what they're doing with their position. So right now, you can see that they've actually lowered their liquidation price to 13,600. So we don't have to worry about them being liquidated until around that price. So there's no panic anymore. It did start at 22,500, but then they doubled down and they brought it down to around 16,000. And you can see that they recently re-added to it again. So they're just making sure that they don't, lose everything. And they'll pretty much wipe out almost half the market cap if these guys got liquidated, honestly, because it would cause a huge cascade effect where if they get liquidated, then everyone below them will get liquidated, and then so on and so forth. So the market cap will pretty much get wiped right out. That's why there was a lot of FUD, but they're well aware of it. Looks like they're acting on it appropriately, and they're just lowering their liquidation price to keep the market and themselves safe. So yeah, guys, if you guys want to keep a track on this, then just go to DeFiExplorer.com. It's free to use, and just input this ID number that you see here on my screen, 25977. You can keep an eye on it. If you find out other corporations and institutions' ID number, then you should put that in there, and you can track that as well. It's really important to keep an eye out on these kind of events. But yeah. But bullish news, the number of addresses, holding 1 Bitcoin or more is just skyrocketing right now. People are accumulating at these levels, so things are starting to turn around in that area. So we could start, hopefully seeing a reversal very shortly, but don't bank on it just yet. I think Monday is going to be a fairly bullish day, but we need to find... an actually a confirmed reversal before, having bullish thoughts. But yeah, so if you guys need any helps with this, just let me know. You know how to reach me in the Discord, and have yourself an amazing day. Thanks, guys.